Hi everyone, so I said I'd come on and talk about the topic of mental health. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm a bit nervous, so go easy on me. So before I start this video, I just want to put it out there that I'm not a mental health professional. I'm not professional in any way on this subject. If you are feeling similar to me, or you know someone who's feeling similar, I do advise to go and get some professional help. I know during this time it may be hard to go to your doctor or whatever, so there is helplines out there, and I will stick them on my story just in case anyone is just needing a bit of help or someone to talk to. So my mental health started to become very bad when I was 15. So out of nowhere I just started getting really anxious, which was causing me to then be depressed. I don't know why I was anxious. It was like just this sudden, like every single thing was making me anxious. I was overthinking every single thing, anything and everything that you can overthink, I was overthinking. I didn't understand why this was happening. Like there was no specific reason for this to be happening to me. Nothing around this time happened for me to be feeling that way. And people used to say to me like, oh, but why are you feeling this way? Like, what are you worrying about? What's going on? There wasn't anything specific, like nothing dramatic happened in my life for this to come on. It just out of nowhere. And so this kind of went on for a while. I didn't know how to explain how I felt. I just don't know. I just felt alien. I felt different. I just felt like my life was ending, and I don't know why I felt like that, because like I had the best of friends, the best family, roof over my head. I was otherwise healthy. So there was no specific reason for this to be happening, and that kind of made me feel a bit worse about the situation. So when I was 15, then after a while I went to my doctor and I got help. I spoke up on how I was feeling, and he thought maybe it was to do with hormones. So he put me on the contraceptive pill, which is fair enough. At 15 you could be very hormonal, and I don't know, like that's probably a thing where your hormones could be all over the place, and that could be contributing to you feeling anxious or depressed. So I just kind of got on with life after that. Was out with my friends, enjoying myself, and then in and around, let me think, then when I was about 18, I started to get bad again. Like all I ever heard was depression or anxiety, and yeah, I was depressed because of something, and I was anxious because of something, but what was that something that was causing this? So after a while I was suffering. I just was going through each day, from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed. I was like, my mind was 90 miles an hour. That was it, like constant, going 90. Anything anyone said to me, anything I did, I was questioning. Like it was awful, like and I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't know how to tell people what was wrong with me, because I didn't understand myself what was wrong with me. And I just felt alien, like I really did. I just felt different from everyone else. So I started self-harming, and I in no way want to glamorize this, because it's like, it was an awful, horrible situation, and it was something that, like, it was a very bad time in my life. So that was like a very hard time in my life. I just wanted to feel something other than what was going on in my mind. Like, I could not escape my own mind. Like, it was going 90 miles an hour all day, every day. And I just remember like putting on this front for everyone else, like just acting as if I was okay, because I felt like I had no reason to feel like this. Like, how dare I feel like this? Because, like, I had a great life. Do you know what I mean? And there was people in far worse situations than I was in, and I had no way of describing how I felt. So I just kind of put up a front. Only like those closest to me knew how I was feeling, and even at that, they didn't know really the extent of it. So I put up a front, and then eventually, like, the self-harm was getting bad, and I ended up having to go to counselling for the first time. And I did get a question on the box I put up on Instagram asking how did I find the courage to go and get help. Basically, each time that I went and got help, it was like the last straw. It was like, right, you have to get help. Do you know what I mean? And I don't encourage that, because I let myself get to a stage where I was at rock bottom, and getting help was my only option. And I really think that even if you're just a bit anxious some of the time, I do recommend going and getting and talking to someone. Like, you don't have to be this really depressed person, or this like really suffering person, to go and see a counsellor or a therapist. Or you don't have to, like, you know what I mean? I encourage everyone to talk about their feelings, because it's natural. It's like we'd go to the doctor for anything. So, like, why wouldn't we go to see someone about our mind, you know? So I went to the first therapist. She was lovely now, lovely. And she was she was kind of like a general. I don't really know the names of different counselling services, like, but she was just kind of a general, like, you go and you talk about how you feel, and then she goes through like mindfulness and stuff like that, and how to be calmer, and you know. So I went to her. I thought it was going good, because I felt good getting stuff off my chest. But then I ended up I self-harmed again while I was in the middle of seeing her, and it was decided then that I go to Pieta House. Now, Pieta House was fantastic. Like, they are amazing what they do, and I do highly recommend I highly recommend them and the services that they provide. And I know I've seen someone talk about it, that obviously during this time the Darkness into Light walk won't be happening, so they're doing like a sunrise, so everyone goes out, gets up at like 5 and watches the sunrise, and they donate to Pieta House. Obviously, because with the Darkness into Light not happening, they won't be like getting as much money from that. So I do recommend, even if you don't do the sunrise, or you don't get up, even to make a small donation, I'm sure it'd be really appreciated. So yeah, like I'm actually shaking down this video, like it's not even funny, like my mouth's gone dry and all. So then I was seeing PA at house and they were very good. At this time I was put on antidepressants. I was put on them I think in 2013. So I didn't have a lot of information about antidepressants before I went onto them. I was just kind of like desperate. Hindsight, looking back, would I choose not to go on them? I don't think so, no. Because they really, I don't know where I'd be if I didn't take them. But I started taking them in 2013, and I was on kind of a high dose. I was on like 150 milligrams, and they just kind of, like the ones I first went on, I was kind of like, I don't really remember chunks of my life from back then. I don't know whether it was the antidepressants, I don't know whether it was just me mental state that kind of made me like hide these memories, if you get me. But yeah, so when I was in PA house, they obviously, because I was self-harming, I went to counselling with them, and that I went for, I can't remember how long I went for, it was probably like 6 weeks, and then I was discharged. I wasn't self-harming anymore. I was, you know, I was grand. I went and that was grand. That was, I think, the end of 2014. So then in 2015 I started weaning off me antidepressants. And what I will say to anyone who is on antidepressants, always consult your doctor before you try and come off them, because you have to like slowly wean yourself off them. This is something I didn't know before I went on antidepressants, is that you can't just stop taking them. Like it, and the higher the dose you're on, the longer it's going to be to wean yourself off them. So you have to kind of, if you're on a high dose, you have to like taper down and slowly come off them. So I started doing that with my doctor, and then I just remember being very bad, like the thoughts. My mind was going 90 then. I didn't know really what was going on. Like, what is this? Like, I just felt like this isn't right. There's something wrong here. There's something different about me. So then in 2015, as I was coming off the antidepressants and my mind was going 90 again, I was desperate. I started just researching online. I know you're not meant to look up symptoms on Google, because obviously like you do have yourself dead and buried, but I was desperate. Like, I really was desperate. I felt like I was getting nowhere with talking to professionals, because I felt like they were just like, oh well, you're depressed or you're anxious. Like there was nothing like specific. Do you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't go to a doctor because you felt like sick and they said, oh, you have an infection. Yeah, but like, where? Like, do you know what I mean? So I was researching myself, and I remember coming across a forum, and someone wrote out a big paragraph, and I remember like reading it, and it was just like a light switch went off in my head. I was like, I could have wrote this. Like, I could have wrote that paragraph. So I kind of like read a bit more, in like, as I was going along, I kind of read more into it, and it turns out this person had OCD. And like, I think we've all heard of OCD before. The main things you hear is, oh, you're excessively clean, or you're afraid of germs, or, you know, general stuff like that. And that's what I thought, because like, that's all I knew, you know. Even school, like, if you'd heard of it, like, or people commenting like, oh, I'm so OCD because I like things neat and tidy. Like, no, that isn't the case. So I remember saying, right, I know what's wrong with me. I have OCD. So I went to my doctor. My regular doctor wasn't there at the time. It was a different woman, and like, obviously she means well. Like, she was an older woman, like I couldn't tell you what age, but I'd say she was close to retirement. And I remember going over to her and saying, I think I have OCD. And like, my mum was with me at the time, because like, what age was I? I would have been 20, but like, no, need me ma. So my mum was there with me at the time, and I said to the doctor, I think I have OCD, and she was like, no, I think you just look out the window and think it's a sad day. And I was like, oh, like, get me out of here. But anyways, I kind of like was just like, oh, like, what? Do you know what I mean? Like, it was kind of like, what? Like, I just didn't know. So then she referred me on to the Centric Health Centre, which I recommend completely. So then I went to the Centric Health Centre after, like, you're putting a waiting list, obviously, and I went, and when you first go in, like, there's a girl, and she, like, you're in a room on your own. I had me mad there because I'm like, I just need me ma. So at this point I had been weaning off me tablets, and so I went, and I think I was fully off me antidepressants at this point, but obviously my mind was like on overdrive. So I went anyways, and I spoke to the girl in the room with me and my ma, and she just asked questions. Like, they ask you questions before to kind of get a feel for what way you're feeling, and I think to kind of diagnose you or see what the best treatment is for you. So she asked me questions like, what way I'm feeling, am I suicidal, you know, just like kind of general questions. And then she gives the page to another woman who then reads it, obviously, and sees what treatments for you, and like, I think kind of diagnose you. I'm not sure, but I don't know what they're called. I don't know whether they're psychiatrists, or I don't really know the names of the different people, but so she gave that page into this woman, and the woman came in then, and she was just kind of like, oh yeah, you need to go back on your antidepressants. And I was like, oh, like, she said it so blasé, like, I'm sorry, like, I've just spent months trying to come off these, and like, just to go back on again. So I was upset, and so I just went on 5 milligrams. So I was on 150, had weaned off them completely, and then went on to 5, so it wasn't that much. So I was like, right, that's as much as I'm going. So then I was telling the woman, she was kind of like saying to me, oh, you're like, she was using fancy words obviously, but she was saying something like depressed, anxious, and I was like, no, I think I have OCD. And she was like, no, and I was like, yeah. And like, don't get me wrong, they were kind of like, they were almost there with the diagnosis, because obviously OCD is an anxiety disorder, but like, do you know what I mean? It's like saying, oh, you have a broken bone. Yeah, but which? Do you know what I mean? Which bone? So she was like, well, we'll refer you onto a CBT therapist, because they'll be able to treat you either way, even if you do have OCD. So I was like, fair enough. Went home. Obviously, I got lucky at this time. It was in 2015, and the waiting list was short for some reason, and I got lucky and got in with her pretty quick. And I went to her, and this woman was like a CBT therapist for over 20 years, and she had treated a lot of people with OCD. And I went to her, and this woman was like a CBT therapist for over 20 years, and she had treated a lot of people with OCD. And she was able to say, "You've OCD," and I was like, finally, like it was like a weight lifted from me. I felt like finally someone was listening to me, like taking this serious, do you know what I mean? So that was grand. I carried on with me CBT, and I like dramatically improved and got on with my life. So that was grand. That was in 2015. Then so I was still on 5 milligrams of my antidepressant from 2015, and then in September, October 2018, I said, right, well, I'm on 5 milligrams. I must have been great for the last few years. Like, not a bother to me. I hadn't been in counselling around. I was grand. Obviously still had my days, but otherwise I was grand, not a bother. So I thought it'd be a great idea to try and come off me antidepressants completely. Obviously weighing myself off them so slowly, every second day. And I hadn't even got off the 5 milligrams when my mind started going again. And I was just like, not again. Like, how is this happening again? Like, why is this happening? I was on such a little dose of antidepressants. How is this happening? So I just kind of thought, like, oh well, I've been through this before. I can get through it myself. Like, I'll get through it myself. I'll be grand. So that was in November 2018. So I was going to Florida in the December, and I remember thinking to myself, like, I was feeling so bad at the time. I remember thinking to myself, like, I'd love to push this holiday back. Like, I'd love to, this holiday was further along so that I can enjoy it. Like, who thinks that when they're going to Florida? Like, Florida is my favourite place in the whole universe. But I was like, I felt so down that I wasn't excited. I was just basically suffering, like, the whole day, every day. So then in May 2019, I finally had enough. Went to the doctor. He said to me, he was like, "You're on." In the meantime, I had gone back on my antidepressants. So I was on 5 milligram, and when I went over, he said, you should increase your antidepressants, because like the first thing, if I refer you on to a psychiatrist or whatever, the first thing they're going to say is like, have you gone to your doctor, have you like increased your antidepressants? So I went up to 10 milligram. So that was grand. I was taking them. I was still very, very bad. You wouldn't have known that I was very bad. But you wouldn't know I was very bad, like, unless you were very close to me. And even at that, the majority of the time I was just pretending. I was just like going through life, like waking up. Like, I was literally waking up, going to the gym. Don't ask me how I was still going to the gym. Like, the gym, that's a big thing in this. The gym has really, really improved my mind, and that's like the one reason that I still go. Like, do you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, I love the physical aspect of it, but the gym for me, like, mentally, like, it's my happy place. It's like, I love it so much. But so I was literally waking up late, couldn't get out of bed. I was going to the gym, I was going to work, I was starting to be late for work. That's one thing that that's one thing that I literally, that wasn't me. I hate being late. I'm one of those people that I'd rather be half an hour early than to be late. And like, it was just sad because I was like, why can't I get out of bed? Like, why can't I just shut my brain off? Like, what is going on? Like, what is going on? Like, I got an appointment in the Centric Centre, met them, lovely people there, and then I was referred for CBT. So I'm currently attending CBT at the minute. Obviously, with the whole COVID-19, I'm doing it over the phone. But my CBT therapist is lovely. She's she's just so knowledgeable, and like this time, like, I'm confident that this is going to get me 100% back on track. Obviously I still have my days where I suffer and stuff, don't we all? Like, this whole coronavirus pandemic and OCD don't really mix well. But luckily I'm working from home, and yeah. So that was just like a glimpse at my story. I got another question in the question box that said, what do you think caused your mental illness? I don't know. Like, they don't know. OCD is one of those things where they're not sure. It could be hereditary. It could be like a chemical imbalance in your brain. I don't know. I really don't know. But what it is obviously, unfortunately, OCD is a chronic illness, so there's no cure currently. Does that like make me feel any sort of way? Not really. No, we all have our stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna be 100% perfect all the time. You have to look at life, like, you have to have the glass half full perspective. Like, you have to just be happy with what you have, be grateful for all the things that you do have. I'm grateful for like my beautiful family, my amazing friends, and the house I live in, the roof over my head. So I hope this isn't very long-winded, and I hope it kind of I hope it inspires someone to, if they have been feeling down, to speak up. And that doesn't necessarily mean a video on Instagram, even if that means finally telling your family or your friends that you haven't been feeling great. Just stay safe, everyone. And if anyone ever needs anyone to talk to, please DM me. I'm always here to listen. Do you know what I mean? And I hope everyone has a lovely weekend, and that's all I gotta say. Bye.